Most people may have overlooked this chair that we found on Marketplace. You can see it here in the storage unit where I purchased it. We purchased it with a lot of about 4 or 5 other pieces, and I would have to estimate that we paid about $200 for the chair itself. At first look, it was in really great condition, but as I started to disassemble it, I seen that it needed a little more work than would have been anticipated, or probably seen unless it was disassembled. It at some point was exposed to quite a bit of moisture somehow, I'm not sure, due to the rust that I found on the components and a lot of watermarks on the wood itself. So I chose to strip it down, as you can see here. My favorite stripper is by Clean Strip, premium stripper, and that is linked along with everything else. I will put that in the description for you. Everyone else likes to use afterwash or acetone, all these different things to wash down their wood, and I have found that water does best. You really can't beat it. And I'm using a rust dissolver that does have a phosphoric acid in it to help eat away that rust. And no, I was not letting the box hold water. I just did that to keep it from blowing across the gravel when I put the water hose on it. A little bit of black paint. I did spray also a rust protector on these before painting them. And the Ottoman was actually in pretty good shape. It had to have a couple of braces re-secured that were already there. And then we just added a new dust protector on the bottom. This little staple gun is amazing. It's made specifically for upholstery and works fantastic. And I'm using a wood epoxy to fill the damage on this leg that I will use a color corrector for here shortly. If you do not have a SurfPrep Sander, it will make your entire world easier, especially if you are refinishing furniture. You should really go and watch my video on that. I will link that here for you. And it's very important to do a progressive sanding with different grits to get that wood nice and smooth without marks. I love these staining pads. They are amazing. You just cut them to size as needed. Use a lighter to just keep those little frays on the edges from getting into your poly. And I'm using Armor Seal to seal in that wood. This is not a stain. That is an oil-based top coat bringing out the color of the wood. Got a little fuzz in the finish there. A lot of people think that is stained, but it's not. I get a lot of kickback for that. Had someone tell me that the red stain was not authentic, and well, I'm not sure how much more authentic you can get in the natural color of the wood. This usually takes me about 4 coats to build up the protection and the feel of the top coat that I want. This is a resin building varnish. It's a little different than your traditional wipe on top coat. And here I'm just cutting a little bit of backing to make a vinyl repair. I only recommend this for small repairs. If you have some major damage, I would recommend reupholstering. But since this is a Milo Baughman chair and I wanted to keep it as authentic as possible, and it was just a minor repair, I went ahead and took care of that in the shop. There was no need in having it reupholstered when so much of it was in excellent condition. I'm just using a little compound here. Usually takes a couple of applications to build up the coverage you need. It dries to a flat sheen so it matches the vinyl really well. That also I'll have linked for you. The reason I did not take the springs off for this is because the way they were mounted, I would have had to access the upholstery as well. I would have had to disassemble that. I'm not really sure why it was constructed that way. Probably never intended for them to come off. So just used a wire brush, a rust protector, and a lubricant to clean those up. And wire brush is your best friend. I did not take these metal pieces off of the base because they were stuck in there pretty good, and I was concerned when I began to try to take them off about damage, and it was not a necessary thing to remove them, so we decided to leave those on there. I'm using a combination of different colors of Mohawk Splendol sticks, toners, and sealers to get that damage repair covered up. This is one of my favorite tasks to do. I love the challenge of trying to match everything. It's not my favorite one that I've ever done, but I think it blended well. And then just reassembling. It took me a minute to find where those screw holes were at because I forgot to mark those. I love the operation of this little mechanism. Having that tilt option on the Ottoman, it adds a whole new level of comfort you wouldn't think about. You'll see that operate here. Just a little bit of a touch. I mean, it's super easy. I have no idea why these nails were in the base of this. I'm not sure. The board that is under there actually was an original support board under there that I'm assuming broke at some point. It is not the original board, obviously, but it functioned very well and the support was great, so we did not bother with taking it out. Don't fix what's not broken. Just went ahead and painted it black to match the original black wood trim, and then touched up the original as well. That little bit of paint really brought the bottom of this chair back to life. And don't worry, the tag that I put tape over is not a paper tag. It's actually like a polyester, I would say. It did not damage the tag at all. If it had been paper, I would have gone a completely different route. I was very gentle with it. And I'm probably giving everyone a heart attack here freehanded next to that. And at the bottom of the tag, it looks like I got paint on it. I don't. That's just where the tag has some wrinkling to it. It's not a perfect edge. And after this, I go back with a wood conditioner. By Better Leather. It's actually a leather conditioner. It's like a beeswax that worked well, but it was still a little dull, so you'll see me go back here in a few minutes. I actually use our tried and true Feed and Wax by Howard products. It's a combination of orange oil and beeswax, and it gives a little more shine. It does tone down as it absorbs, so now the chair is not nearly as shiny as it will look in the final clip of the video. I did have to go back and reference some of my before photos to get this lined up right. I always make sure to take at least a before video or pictures to help you if you're having to disassemble everything. Always use an impact driver if you can instead of a drill to put screws back in. It'll help you out a lot. When I went to reassemble this, all this had already been cleaned, but it still was giving me a little trouble on the threads, so I did some touch-up cleaning and added a lubricant. All of the cans you see me using are by Gear Hugger. They are an eco-friendly option opposed to traditional lubricants and rust protectors and whatnot. That also will be linked for you. And just reassembling took a few minutes, but it was actually a really relaxing process. Someone had commented on Instagram that they had not seen square nuts in forever, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, I see those all the time, but then it dawned on me I probably see them all the time because I'm dealing with vintage furniture all the time, so didn't even think about that. This is the Feed and Wax. It just gives it a lot more shine, and I feel like it hydrates it more. It may be the orange oil combination in there with the beeswax that's probably doing that. It's easier to use too. And here is the final reveal. You can hear that rain in the background. that wood frame is so much better now. And like I said, the shine on that vinyl is a little less now.